Hey, what's up, guys? I'm New Aliens. Welcome to Creeptoks, where I scour the internet in search of the craziest, creepiest, scariest videos. Let's go on this ride together as we discern reality, fiction, and the paranormal. Hop on, let's go.
Don't let this handsome man fool you. During the 1950s in Silver City, Alaska, there was a giant library that sat on top of a snow-filled mountain. Most town people knew not to go there because of its strange owner and difficulty to actually get there. In 1955, a journalist named Cliff Hanger wanted to film a documentary visiting creepy buildings around the world, so he decided to come down to Alaska and visit the library. The film crew had a difficult time reaching the top with their equipment, but after a few hours they were able to get to the front door of the library. When they entered, they were shocked at how big it was and were quickly greeted by a very tall man who told them his name was Horace. The film crew asked if they could interview him and he nodded yes, but when the interview started he just sat there and smiled and never said a word, and after a few minutes he got up and just disappeared. Even though the film crew was creeped out by this, they decided they would stay and film around for a bit. After about an hour, Cliff started to realize he hadn't seen or heard of anyone in a long time. So he decided to investigate, and after a few minutes he saw a strange-looking golden book on a shelf, and when he grabbed it he fell through a trap door underneath him. When Cliff gathered himself, he realized he was in the basement of the library. But before he could do anything else, he came face to face with Horace, and he would creepily say, "I'm ready for my interview now."
So, is it just me, or does anyone else feel like they were cheated out on this one? I mean, what happened after the interview or during the interview? Did Cliff make it out of the basement? Is he alive? Sometimes I wonder why some of these clips are even bothered to be uploaded. I suppose I can allow for my own imagination to run with it. Imagine going on a trip alone, and while on the road over an hour away, you decide to pull over for any reason, only to find your girlfriend whom you know to be at home trying to get in the car. What do you do?
What's wrong with you?
It's for me.
What?
It took my daughter.
Hurt her?
Please let me inside.
The uncanny valley is a concept in robotics and artificial intelligence that describes the unsettling feeling people experience when they encounter humanoid entities that closely resemble humans but are not quite lifelike. Coined by Japanese roboticist Masahiro Mori in 1970, the term refers to a dip in comfort level when the appearance of a robot or digital character is almost, but not entirely, human. This phenomenon occurs in avatars, prosthetics, and even computer-generated imagery where slight imperfections trigger feelings of eeriness or revulsion. The uncanny valley can be attributed to our innate ability to recognize and respond to human-like features. When these features appear almost, but not completely, lifelike, it disrupts our expectations and elicits feelings of discomfort. Understanding this psychological response is crucial for designers in robotics and animation as it influences user acceptance and emotional interaction. As technology advances, creating more realistic entities without falling into the uncanny valley remains a significant challenge. The backrooms, a concept born from internet lore, describes a seemingly infinite maze of monotonous, yellow-tinted rooms that often evoke a sense of unease. Within this labyrinth lurk various monsters, each heightening the tension of wandering its endless corridors. One of the most notorious entities is the hounds, agile and canine-like creatures that stalk prey through the halls, their distressing vocalizations echoing in the emptiness. Another is the facelings, humanoid figures with featureless faces that blend into the environment, sometimes appearing friendly but becoming dangerously unpredictable. Additionally, smilers are disconcerting beings that only reveal their grinning presence in the dark, their glowing eyes a sign of impending doom. Lastly, the wretches, twisted abnormalities that blend human features with grotesque mutations, embody the horrors of isolation. Each monster adds to the chilling atmosphere of the backrooms, making escape seem both tantalizing and terrifying. In this next clip, the creators, in my opinion, did an excellent job portraying this lore and bringing it to life.
Duck! It's not moving. Shut it. What even is that? Was it moving? No, it got crushed. One. Great. I'm gonna just keep recording so we can use the footage to backtrack if we need to.
What's your battery at?
46. And I have no service.
Yeah, I just checked that out either.
Let's try to stay quiet. We don't know if that thing's actually dead.
سند ليش قاعد هيك؟ سند بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سند هذا هو مقبرة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن اسمها السند اسمها السند سند كيف انت هيك سند بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم جهتك بالله رجع بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم جهتك بالله بقول لك.
Not much is known in regards to this next one. From what I can see is a group of men were exploring an underground cave system when they ran across something sinister and might have driven them a little mad. If any of you might know anything about this, please drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments section, and please don't forget to like this video, share with other people, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thanks a million.
جيب البخار جيب رجع رجع بسرعة انتظر يقول لك انتظر
A tall, gaunt man vaulted over her fence with eerie ease, landing on her property like a predator stalking its prey. He was dressed in dark clothes, his unkempt hair hanging over his face that oozed malice. His sunken black and soulless eyes locked onto her. A primal terror gripped her, but she didn't freeze, she fought. With nothing but instinct driving her, she grabbed the closest thing, a broom, and swung with everything she had. The wooden handle cracked against his shoulder, but she didn't stop. She struck again and again, screaming as she lashed out at the intruder. For a split second, his expression twisted into something unexpected, shock. He hadn't anticipated resistance. He stumbled back, dodging another wild swing before snarling in frustration. Then, just as quickly as he had arrived, he turned and leaped back over the fence, vanishing into the alley beyond. Days later, as the woman sat in front of her television, the news showed a police sketch. And it was the man who had attacked her. It was the nightstalker, Richard Ramirez, the monster who had been breaking into homes and slaughtering innocents, whispering his devotion to Satan in the dead of night. And she had faced him, fought him off, and survived.
Richard Ramirez, known as the Nightstalker, was a serial killer who terrorized Southern California in 1984 and 1985, committing numerous crimes including murders, sexual assaults, and burglaries. His capture on August 31st, 1985, followed a failed attempt to evade a crowd in East Los Angeles. After being recognized from a police sketch, he was chased and ultimately apprehended by citizens, meaning they beat the ever-living crap out of him. A well-deserved whooping, if you ask me. His arrest led to a trial where evidence linked him to multiple crimes. Ramirez was convicted in 1989 and sentenced to death. He died in 2013 while still on death row, leaving a lasting impact on true crime history. Imagine closing your eyes only to wake up to a 360-degree pitch-black view. I lay there in deep thought of the perils that lie ahead, and as darkness enveloped me, panic surged through my veins. The suffocating weight of earth pressed down, each grain a reminder of my impending doom. I gasped, desperate for air, my heartbeat echoing in the confined space. The muffled sounds of the world above faded, replaced by the relentless thud of my own dread. Memories of laughter and light flickered in and out, haunting my mind as I clawed at the soil, panic-stricken. The isolated silence consumed me, amplifying my terror. In those harrowing moments, I understood the true essence of fear, an inescapable descent into loneliness and despair, trapped beneath the weight of existence.
One quiet day, an old woman got sick and her husband spent every second beside her. Later on, she was pronounced dead. This was the love of his life, and he was devastated. She was then buried the next day, and the husband was so sad and desperate that he tried to jump on the casket as it was being lowered into the ground. The man returned back to his house, and as the days passed, he grew more and more miserable and sad. One night, a strange scratching sound woke him up. It was getting louder and louder, but he had no idea where it was coming from. He then turned over in his bed and locked eyes on something truly terrifying. He saw a figure of a woman standing outside his window and then realized it was his wife. He ran to the window, but as he got to it, his wife disappeared. He then called the doctor and begged for his wife's grave to be dug up. However, the doctor said no and told him he was just struggling with stress. But every night, he kept seeing her at the window and hearing the scratching noise. The man had enough and decided to go dig her up on his own. When he reached the coffin, he opened the lid and stepped back in complete horror. His wife had a frozen scream on her face, the coffin was filled with scratches, and her fingers had been worn down to the bone.
What is going on? I'm basically just securing all this stuff right now. Just making sure there's nobody in here. Anybody in here? Hello? Yeah, but listen, you gotta get out of here. You're gonna have to come talk to me, okay? Where you at? I can't see you. You're correct, so you need to come out, okay? You guys hear this? This is broad daylight. I don't know where this kid is. Where are you?
When police are called to a disturbance at a residential building, they capture a dark entity on their body cam. The woman they're called to is visibly upset. She was the victim of 17 years of abuse by her husband. On their second call out to the residents, the woman calls out, "I don't know what that is," as if she saw or knew the entity was there, and tries to run past the police. Watch this.
Hi.
Yeah, she just gotta go.
How are you? Do you have your ID with you?
I don't.
What's your name?
Irene.
Irene. What's your last name, Irene?
Bedard Wilson.
Can you spell that for me?
Disney princess, just so you know.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you?
I'm the voice of Pocahontas.
Really?
Yeah, you're gonna find me in your thing right now.
Why would I do that?
Because I am a 53-year-old Native American woman who...
TMZ. Bedard's arrest was due to her allegedly harassing an employee and running around the hotel lobby frantically, informing the officer of her 53-year-old age over and over. The report states that, I quote, "she got even more out of control, wildly running around the lobby and eventually charging the officer." The body cam footage shows her becoming aggressive and refusing to leave. While zombies are often relegated to the realm of fiction, the concept of zombie-like behavior has roots in reality, particularly in certain cultures and scientific phenomena. One striking example comes from Haiti, where the term zombie refers to individuals believed to be under the control of a sorcerer, rendered devoid of free will. This belief is often linked to the use of a potent neurotoxin derived from the pufferfish, which can induce a death-like state, only for the victim to be revived later, leading to real-life zombie-like experiences. Moreover, scientific studies unveil unusual behaviors that resemble zombie narratives. For instance, the parasitic fungus Ophiocordyceps unilateralis infects ants, effectively controlling their movements to benefit its reproduction. Such natural occurrences challenge our understanding of consciousness and autonomy, blurring the lines between reality and the fantastical. Thus, while classic zombie tales may be fiction, the true stories behind them reveal a fascinating intersection of culture, science, and the human psyche. In this next clip, it is explained that the individual is the first real zombie. While entertaining, it is my opinion that it is completely fabricated. As stated, there are real accounts of zombie-like behavior that have been documented. The person you see in this video has been dead for several hours. You can see them getting up and trying to leave their room. But be warned, this person died in a fire, meaning there are no organs left inside their body. Every single one has been removed. This video is spreading worldwide. Share it before it's too late. According to many, this man could be the first real zombie. In the footage, he doesn't just sit up. He kicks the bed and tries to leave the hospital room. And this doesn't last just a few minutes, it goes on for much longer. Some are calling it death lucidity, but in reality, death lucidity happens before dying, not after. So what happened to this man? I can understand a final breath before passing, but this is movement after death, and not just a little. And let's not forget he has no organs left, he was burned to death. Yet he's still moving. No, this isn't just death lucidity anymore. This video is hiding something even more terrifying. What that is, I suppose we will never know.
This is something that happened a few years ago. This was back when I was in college, but it was my senior year. For that school year, I lived in a small and old house a little ways off of campus. It was a pretty typical college neighborhood with a bunch of other similar houses. I shared the 2-bedroom house that I lived in with one other person, my roommate named Jason. We had met each other in college and were friends. So an event took place a few months into the school year. Jason and I were both always coming and going from the house. We both had classes at all sorts of random times, and we also both worked jobs part-time as well. So one night, I came back home to the house after a late class. I had been gone basically all day since the morning, because I spent the time in between my classes studying in buildings around campus. After arriving back to the house, I parked out front on the side of the street and walked up to the front door. I went inside and was going to go upstairs and change. However, right when I got inside, something seemed off. The first room in the house was the living room, and it looked a little bit messed up. Also, the door that leads to the basement was wide open, and we always kept it closed. I knew that Jason was gone at work until later, and of course, I figured that he was responsible for the mess and the open door. It was not really like him though, because we were both pretty clean and picked up after ourselves. But obviously, it couldn't be anybody else. I thought maybe he left in a hurry and had been looking for something. Either way, it wasn't too big of a deal. I just picked up the few things that were on the floor, and then I went over and closed the door. I was going to go upstairs and change then, so I walked up and then went to my bedroom. Then I took a quick shower, changed clothes, and then went back downstairs to get something to eat. After going back downstairs though, I saw that the basement door was once again open. This really creeped me out. I had a bad feeling about it immediately, but I thought that maybe Jason had returned home early from work. I called out his name, asking if he was back. He obviously didn't go upstairs, or I would have seen or heard him. But when I called out, I got no response. I decided to go and look in the basement. At our house, we had this old, unfinished basement. We mostly didn't have anything down there except for the washing machine, dryer, and a few boxes. I took like 1 or 2 steps down the stairs. As soon as I did, I immediately saw somebody down there. It was dark, so I didn't get a good look at all. It appeared to be a man though, and somebody who I did not recognize. He was just barely in my sight. After seeing him, I could not believe it. But then he started to turn, and I think to look at me. But right away, I turned around and quickly went back upstairs. Then I closed the door behind me. Then I ran upstairs and went back inside of my bedroom. I closed the door and locked it behind me. After that, I got out my phone and I dialed 911. Right as this was all going on, I started to hear the guy walking around downstairs. I spoke with the 911 dispatcher explaining the situation. But right after I did, I heard the man start to walk upstairs. I just hoped that he wouldn't try to get in my bedroom. My room was the first one at the top of the stairs to the right. Jason's room was a little ways down and to the left, and he also had his door shut. The only other room up there was the bathroom. So after the footsteps reached the top of the stairs, almost instantly they were right outside of my door. I was really nervous. Then they turned and tried the door handle. I'm so happy that my door had a lock on it. When the door didn't open, the guy walked further down the hallway. I heard him opening Jason's door, which was unlocked. Then he went inside there. This really creeped me out, because whoever this guy was knew that I must have seen him, and instead of leaving, he chose to go upstairs and seemingly go after me. I did my best to keep calm. I just hoped that the police would arrive shortly. The man stayed inside of Jason's bedroom for probably 2 or 3 minutes. Then he came back out. He seemed to go near the bathroom for a few seconds. Then he turned around and headed back towards my room. Except this time, he walked past and went back down the stairs. After going back down, I heard him walking a little. Then the sound of the front door opened and shut. I figured that he left, but I still didn't leave my bedroom. Just a few minutes after that, the cops got there. I went down and told them what happened. They looked around, but the guy was gone. I called Jason and told him about it too. He came home a while later, and unfortunately, a few things were stolen from his bedroom. We never found out who did it. Also, I'm pretty sure whoever this guy was just walked right in. We didn't do a very good job of locking our door because we were always coming and going. But after that, we did.
If you made it this far, I would like to express my appreciation. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that little bell icon so you don't miss out on my next upload. No Alias signing off. Peace.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts